Alicia Bubbles, and I am the director at CALYX now for the last 2 years. But this is not my evening. This is not my baby at all. This is our volunteers and incredible intern group at CALYX right now. They wanted to do something for National Poetry Month, and about the only thing I came up with was, let's make it rowdy. That's about all I really had to do with this. So I would like to get off this stage and get things started. So what I'm going to do right now is just introduce our first reader. From there, they will be introducing each other. And so we have our reading, and then we have a short intermission, and then we have open mic time. And there is a sign-up sheet in the back, and we are limited on time. So if you want to read, get your name on there. Otherwise, you'll have to listen to me and my prose poem about the arrival of the royal baby, which hasn't happened yet, so I don't feel like I can read it. Anyway, sorry. So let me get the evening started by introducing Hannah Baggott. Hannah Baggott is a Nashville, Tennessee native, currently pursuing an MFA, but I believe this is slightly outdated. An MFA in poetry at Oregon State University, while teaching writing courses with a rhetorical focus on gender and media. She has also recently become a regular contributor with the PDXX Collective, and her work can be found in the forthcoming in CALYX Journal, the Bellevue Literary Review, for which she won the 2015 Marcia and Jan Vilnick Prize for Poetry. Vilcek, sorry. Tupelo Quarterly, the Intima, a journal of narrative medicine, Stockholm Review, Contrary Magazine, and other journals. Connect with her at hannahbaggott.com. There are cards in the back, so you don't even have to write that down. Thank you, Hannah.
Before you start?
Yes.
There's no light on them if we're videotaping. You back it up just a little bit into
There's
the light.
There's a light right behind you.
There's a light. So if you back up the mic and the...
There you go.
So,
Is that better?
Let me just say one thing to the readers. If you need to adjust the height of this, you want to be about that far away from the microphone if you need to adjust the height.
okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's better, but it's still not much light.
No?
No. Yeah, a little more if you can. Oh, so your face was almost in the light there. Can you go back a little more? Yeah, see, now you're in the light. Now you're in the light right there.
Great.
So if everybody can do that, you'll be seen. Thank you.
Try to keep my footing here.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, now that we're set up, hi everyone. As was mentioned or alluded to, I just defended my MFA thesis in poetry about 3 hours ago. Thank you. And successfully, I might add, which is the most important thing. But I was really happy to be able to come here and read as a part of CALYX for this awesome event. I love working with these wonderful people, so I'm happy to do it. I was asked in preparation for this event to consider poetry as political, which again is the title. I normally don't consider my work to be politically driven. However, in thinking about it even more, and what I've been told and what I've heard is all poetry is political. And in a sense it is. And for me particularly with power and with power over language. So I have 4 poems for you this evening to share. 2 of which are more, are a part of the collection that I'm currently working on. That are about my experience with multiple sclerosis and my own kind of issues with empathy and class and privilege in that implicitly. So I'm going to start with those 2 poems, and if you can hang in there with me with the sad, I'll then read a poem about Tennessee and then a poem about Beyonce at the end, so just hang in there. So this is MS relapse treatment at Good Samaritan Clinic. The woman next to me blows her nose, rhythmically dropping tissues on the floor, mumbles allergies, does not smile. I'm trying not to breathe her in, her lungs, her sweaty rolls hanging over the chair, the gurgles of her oxygen machine. When she is gone, the flustered nurse sighs, I shouldn't be angry. Snaps on a new pair of latex gloves, tending to the tissues, face tense. She only has one arm. I never did look at her. Tried so hard to pretend I couldn't feel the humidity of her body, her dew. I'd been staring at my hands, thinking how one day they will sit dead in my lap, but no one will notice unless they reach out to touch the cold, retracting muscle, their bodies shifting, unsettled. They'll think, weak woman, won't think about ghosts or nerves. I will not hold a thin-stemmed wine glass, my palms shells, hold them up against your ears, and maybe you'll hear the gusts of my desire to grip pins without needles. But even ghosts are whole. I will look lovely, purple and pale, shrinking into my clothes, sipping carrot juice, and that woman still won't have an arm. Will still be pushed back to her hospital bed, leaving a trail of snotty tissues until infection sets in. There is a space between guilt and shame that makes a mess of the conscience. The place where no one is behind the divider in the confession booth. The place where I'm sorry doesn't exist. Here, the woman's rhythm will rot in my hands until every sneeze stops reminding me of her. This one's called Partial Confession. In the middle of the MRI, the techs are cold like rubbing alcohol. They dig for veins, bore 6 holes into my arms, keep saying I'm right up against it, keep asking, am I hurting you? The contrast agent must be injected directly into a vein. If they miss, it pools under the skin, little lumps of poison. I don't know whether or not to be sorry. I carry 6 little burning lakes home inside my stiff arms, covered in tape and gauze, my hair matted, my face pink, makeup teared off, numb from all those track marks, the mess of medicine, the great equalizer, sticky with disinfectant, the scent of my skin foreign. I shower for a long time, step out still dirty, the holes scabbing and bruising fluorescent. Waiting for a bus, I am killing time by planning how to go unnoticed. All these people at the stop, each glance up from my feet, a relearning of object permanence, little shocks of otherness, their bodies damp from the rain, wind wafting dirty dog pheromones. I breathe in my own collarbone, disgusted at my own tight mouth, my refusal of traffic, of a long day spent in the wake of bus exhaust. I board with them. The number 7 hospital bound, the last stop before returning to town to start over. I take note of at least 6 people who look sick enough, puffy-faced, undercurrents of inflammation, sweat stains, crusty lip corners. Their skin could slide off at the tap of the brakes. I am the only one who raises a hand, pulls the wire with too much attention to my posture. Virginia Woolf says illness is the great confessional. Maybe that will be true. I can't help keeping secrets, taking pride in not looking the part in this world of a waiting room. I want to be put together. I want to not belong on a no-fare small-town bus. I want to be good. Now we'll move on to the funnier ones, I guess, a little bit. This next poem I just wrote recently in light of this event, and in light of Tennessee, where I'm from, passing a law that makes the Bible the state book. So this is titled The Sounds of Church and State, with the epigraph, from Republican Norris, on this passing, though this person did not vote for said passing. He says, "I can hear Satan snickering. He loves this kind of mischief." Actually said, isn't that insane? Where I'm from, the elders say there are two types of people: those who are going to hell in a handbasket and those who aren't. Historians say the handbasket was for catching heads from the guillotine. We'd be just as accurate to say wheelbarrow, but that doesn't feel as right in the mouth. Those H sounds make it holy to shout, like "heaven help us," or "holier than thou" as a compliment. All those neurons lit in righteousness. Somehow, something happened to my brain scan. The dendrites dying, decapitated. My nerves nestled in quilted napkins between hard-boiled eggs and heirloom tomatoes in an artisan hand-woven basket. What mischief runs through this body, then, if curse is also a blessing? When does laughter become snicker? When do we listen for either? Here's my last one. It's called A Case Study and an Experiment. The one fight we can't resolve, Beyonce. And if she's doing good or more harm than. We sling articles and lyrics around our kitchen, breaking dishes, cracking our Chemex, of course it was an accident. We gnash our teeth and tighten our mouths and grind our jaws between claim and rebuttal and go to bed angry. Silently running through everything we said and didn't say about Beyonce, making sure our backs don't touch. I hope my thighs and your thighs won't strain under the rhythm of our looping mouths that can't stop asking, who bows down? Let's pretend to be sexy for just an hour. Forget our daily exhaustions. You on your knees scrubbing tile and my tongue tripping discontent. Let's pretend we didn't study a rigore. Pretend that we're not stuck in a theory of separation when we say, "Baby, I'm sorry, we've been so busy." Let's pretend we don't flinch. No need to apologize for the music from the passing cars outside our bedroom window. Let's say for an hour, this is all we want. Thank you. Oh, I was going to introduce you, but
He has something to tell you real quick.
okay.
I do. Hi, I'm George Taylor. I'm one of the owners here. I welcome you all. We're glad to have you here. And I met Hannah tonight, but I already knew some things about her. I already knew she was from Tennessee. And I already knew that she was getting her master's degree today. Clap for her. For that. And I already knew that she'd been to Imagine Coffee a few times because yesterday I talked to her mom. Her mom's name is Pam. She's very charming, and boy, does she sound like a Southern girl. So she said, "Is there any way I can buy a meal or two and some coffee for my daughter and for Max?" And I said, "Sure." And so she bought a Imagine Coffee gift card. I want you just to read what she said on
Right here. Right there. My mom says, "Happy Thesis Day and good luck tonight. Love, Mom and Dad." That's so cute. Thank you. Today is full of surprises. That's wonderful. At that note, with embarrassment and joy, I'll introduce our next reader. Here we go. Amy MacLennan has been published in Haydensbury Review, River Styx, Line Break, Cimarron Review, Elohai Gudugi, Cloudbank, Windfall, The Oregonian, and Rattle. Her chapbook, The Fragile Day, was released from Spire Press in 2011, and her chapbook, Weathering, was published by CALYX Press in 2012. Her book, The Body, a Tree, will be published by Moonpath Press in January of 2016. Amy is an editor for Cascadia Review and the Cortland Review. She lives in Ashland, Oregon. Let's welcome Amy.
Hello. The first thing I'd like to do is thank CALYX so much for putting this event together. Thank you so much, Tammy, for the invitation. And thank you so much to this wonderful cafe for having us here tonight. It's a gorgeous space. Just looking out onto this is amazing, and I just really, really appreciate the opportunity to read with this event. When it comes to political poetry, it gets very interesting. Sometimes I'm inspired by things that are happening politically, and it takes on, for me, it's a larger metaphor. It's not just one particular thing, but just how we interact with each other as people. This poem is pretty much a take on if the wind could talk to us and tell us its thoughts about how we treat each other. This is called I Am the Wind, Spring 2013. I creep by the pear trees just to see the petals weep down across leaves and settle on the ground as gauze. I thwack your splintered shutters, screen doors, garden gates. I show you all the slap and shake of one good slam, a smug answer to almost anything. I bring seeds, pollen, embers, whatever is open to the flame. But even as I drift pine needles through your streets, I must wait for the pressure to shift. Only then can I start the shredding of curtains, garbage can dance, brittle branch snap. I've gusted by you as you argue on the patio, make love on grass surrendering to your weight. And I see you blowing softly, stirring a small smoke of sawdust until there is a change in tension. Then you rip and wreck the frail shingles from each other's roofs. This is kind of an approach to the politics of the body. Thinning. Her morning meal. No more smoothies of grapefruit, protein powder, kelp. She gagged on the flavor, the feel in her mouth, but choked more on herself. Squishy thighs, belly spilling over ever tighter jeans, already 2 sizes up. Her breasts puffed as well, but the cleavage felt almost obscene. Not sexy, but a sign her body wanted to envelop itself. So her morning starts with 2 cups of coffee, 2 smokes, 2 shots. Muddled at first, but her weight drops, a hot air balloon settling, a slack collapse. So the 2 become 3, woozy and craving became 1. Her smell changes from an earthy musk to a sharp smell of grass just starting to decay. She trades in lunch too. It works. It all works. Brings her back to bone showing under skin. She figures a few months, enough to feel a new self, to be a compost heap, slow rot to shrink her down until she filters all that is wrong. She tries hard to remember slight breezes against the hair on her arms, the language of a slow pulse. She no longer thinks of the taste of fresh-baked bread or cantaloupe. gun club. Men either stare or pretend she's not there, the only girl at the gun club. The earplugs help, everything sunk to a hush. Delicate, lipstick shaped, she slips 22s into the magazine, copper noses stacked. Almost flimsy and light, it takes just a slight click to send it in. But releasing the bolt is a slam, a hard return, just like her mother told her. She pastes her target on cardboard at 25 feet, and she has a can to pick up cooled brass. Plans to clean the gun at a friend's house. No one downrange, and she knows her sights are straight. One eye shut, a lean, a pause, a holding of breath, and the trigger squeeze, like coaxing a moth on a silk thread. She rips hole after hole through the soft circles, so dainty, like needlework, lace. And this last poem is called Meatpacking. Don't stop to wipe the gore from your face. Just move to the next set of cuts. Try to keep the keen on your blade. It's got to be sharp to slice through the beef without any drag on your bones, your flesh. With 4,000 head a day, the grab and trim becomes your world. The fat on the floor, you step through the groom, it splashes your boots. But don't look down. Watch the knife, the hilt in your hand. It might stick, then fly, and you're packed in close. As the belt speeds up, check your metal apron, cinch it tight. 7 pounds of mail, all that protects your belly and back. Hide the small wounds, 10 stitches or less. The boss won't look. He's got numbers to make. Remember the speed of the line. Think only of steel and meat. Thank you so much.
Shio nagada Qwo-Li dawado Qwo-Li nagad ani wiahi elo Qwo-Li ani kalapuya ayet ale Qwo-Li CALYX ale he Qwo-Li ayet. Hello everyone, my name is Qwo-Li. I want to thank the Kalapuya Nation whose land we're on tonight, and also thank you so much to CALYX for inviting me to read, and this space. I can't remember how to say cafe in Cherokee, so I said coffee center, so that was pretty good. All right. Manifesto. When you touch me, the borders of empire collapse. Unenrolled. Let's face it, Mama. No one wants us. What kind of Indians are we anyway, all kinky-haired and blue-eyed, red and blonde and brown and black hair? Governments don't care about stories. They care about allotments, documents, census numbers. Listen to our muddled tongues and you will hear the dust of southeastern Colorado clinging against the hoofbeat of night riders burning crosses in front of Quaker houses. And before that, the mines of southwestern Missouri, farms in Kansas and Indian Territory. And before that, homes in Tennessee and North Carolina and Georgia. Look at our mixed blood faces and you see the granddaughter of a French colonist slave owner marrying a black Indian indentured servant trying to live free in North Carolina swamps. And before that, there was Qwo-Li. And even there, we came from somewhere far north, somewhere far south, made a people. It's been a while since we stayed anywhere long. Genocide does that. Slavery does that. Land theft and Jim Crow and Indian Territory and allotments do that. At night, I dream the Mali Empire, Muslims from West Asia mixing with Yorubas and Mandinkas. I dream a song from a madrash filling southern Europe, I dream migrations from India and Ethiopia. I dream Pictish. I dream Cherokee. I dream all of us home. Let them have their nation. We'll build our own like we've always done, out of whatever we can carry on our backs. This next poem is for Veronica Brown, who some folks may remember, gosh, my timeline is all mixed up with this, but a couple years ago, she was a Cherokee child who was adopted into a white family, and when her father, who hadn't consented to the adoption, wanted her back, it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ended up taking a really important part of the Indian Child Welfare Act away. So for a lot of Native people, this was a really devastating moment emotionally and legally. And you're gonna have to learn some Cherokee words for this. Ready? Okay, so I'll say a word and you all can say it back to me. Okay? Qwo-Du. Qwo-Du. That means beautiful in Cherokee. Qwo-Li. Qwo-Li. That means brown. Usti. That means little or baby. All right. There must be songs for this, for Veronica Brown. Qwo-Li. Qwo-Du. I breathe the words out, round as smoke. There must be songs for this, a formula to bring back stolen children, a song for protection, medicine for return. There must be a ceremony we created after the boarding schools and removals and wars, sassafras spit to beg thunder, a pinch of tobacco in the first light of morning. Miss Veronica, I don't know you. I'm just another broken heart, a blue witness sending prayers on smoke to the east, and the war isn't over. You are returning to land close to our mother mounds. They will sing lullabies. Qwo-Du, Qwo-Li, Usti. Ka, listen, there are old songs belting from the strong lungs of men who love you. There are old rhythms shaking from the strong legs of women who love you. There are old prayers rising as smoke from people who love you. There are old words sprouting from the hills that love you. Ka, Dagalutsi, 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 Dagalutsi. Listen, she will come back, 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 she will come back. Angie Zapata was a young trans woman of color who was murdered several years ago. For Angie Zapata, in this version of the story, you live. There is no fire extinguisher against skull, no moment of terror before your last breath howls through broken ribs. In this version of the story, you live. We all live. So a tear dress is something that is worn in Cherokee women's regalia in Oklahoma. People started making it in the 70s, but it's to remember the removal. So it's a 19th century style dress. How to make a tear dress for Susan Applegate Krause. Sit with Susan at her big wooden table. Tear white calico with a blue rose print into squares and rectangles. White, the color of peace. Blue, the color of sorrow. Plan to make this dress together. Eat fresh tomatoes from Susan's garden. Teach her garden words. Uneguhist, tomato. Tuya, beans. Agostagist, lettuce. Pin down this memory like an applique diamond. Sing the Trail of Tears song. Susan will tell you to write the words down so she won't forget. Look at photographs of Susan's family and ancestors. Talk about land and loss and home. Stack the squares of fabric neatly on Susan's bedside table. Promise another visit soon to sew it all together. This dress is a new tradition. We tear fabric to remember scissors confiscated by the military, the forced march west. When I put this dress onto my asegi body, it will make this story newer still. Cancer wears the uniform of the Georgia militia and carries a bayonet, forces a march to the darkening land. Your last conversation with Susan will be over the phone. She will say, "Pray the Creator will take me home. I can't do this anymore." The words will prick your fingertips. Listen to Susan say, "We'll see each other on the other side," before hanging up the phone. Put tobacco down. Ask that Susan crosses over as quickly and painlessly as possible. Try not to feel like this prayer is betrayal. Sing the Trail of Tears song as loud as you can. Say garden words to taste Susan's voice in your mouth again. Listen to your heart rend. Try to stop its edges from unraveling. Just try. One night, the sound of a bird's wing will beat in your face, wake you from sleep. Wonder if spirits carry feathers. Wonder if spirits are made of feathers. Think about the unfinished dress, those crisp, smooth squares of calico, neatly stacked on the bedside table. Say, "Teindaga hoyu," we'll see each other again in the dark. And this is my last poem. And this poem I wrote after the state of Arizona passed SB 1070, which was the anti-immigration racist horror. Love poem after Arizona. Baby, let me press my palm against your chest, staunch the flow of despair that beats from your sacred heart like an oil spill. We are two mixed blood boys, and no empires are never gentle. Take off your Mexica mask so I can see your beloved Nawa face. Remove your wooden shield so I can kiss your Apache sternum. Taste in your sweat the iron of Spain that never conquered us. There is too much time for war. Outside, they erect walls, hone laws, imagine gods, sharp and white as history. But we have poetry. We have song. We have the stubble of your chin I kiss as I reach under the armor of your white t-shirt. Hold hard your heart's warm beat. The veins in your arms, turquoise roads, my tongue traces to paths older than metal fences. Your hands, like butterfly wings, disrupt smooth air, gather momentum until our gasps birth hurricanes no log can stop. Baby, curl into the crook of my arm. Rest your head here on my chest, just for tonight. Forget wars waged against us. Handsome, our lips will skim this dark outside the rule of law. We reweave the order of the universe, dream away borders, awake to the light of a continent. Wado, thank you.
Tammy had said we're going to take a little break. We did actually have a fifth reader scheduled for this evening, Connie Eggers, who is a long-term CALYX volunteer and a fantastic poet. But she is unwell and wasn't able to join us. So keep an eye out on all of on our website and social media and all of that. And anytime that she's having a reading, you'll hear about it, and you can join us to enjoy. So we're running a couple minutes early. Amazing how these things happen. About 6 minutes early. So as Tammy said, we'll take a short break now for people to get coffee and so forth, and we'll come back with the open mic. And I want to share a little bit from CALYX and about what we're up to too. So 6 minutes of timing.